Modern Commerce. Welcome back. We're at it again. You're here as always with Casey, and I've got my man John, who I'll bring in here in just a second. But today we are going to go over our channel's top 15 or most popular, most viewed 15 videos thumbnails. We do a lot of marketing, and we don't always mention the marketing we do on this show. But today we wanted to mix that up and kind of show you guys like a little thoughts, some of the thoughts behind what we might do in some of our own marketing materials that we use for this channel. I thought that might be a kind of cool look behind the curtain. John is with me as always. John, let's get you in here. How you doing today, man?
What up, guy? I'm doing good. We're getting started a little bit late. Casey's got a place to go. We didn't have it together. We just came up with this idea. Just full disclosure.
Yeah, we just threw it together. So I have.
I don't know if we're supposed to say anything about that,
but whatever. Who cares? I have grabbed the most viewed 15 videos from this channel that you're watching right now. I've grabbed the thumbnails from those videos. I made all these thumbnails. I make the thumbnails on these videos. Another look behind the curtain there. John sees them usually, but he's not involved with making them very much. But today I'm going to get John's 15. He's going to rank them. He's going to come up with his top 3 that he likes out of this 15 most popular.
I'm not going to do the one I'm going to call an audible. I'm not going to do the ones I like. I'm going to try and guess the 3 with the highest click-through rate.
Okay, which I do.
So we're going to find out if you stick around to the end, you'll see how good I am at actually predicting our success or actually assessing a thumbnail. I mean, there's going to be some that I have bias towards and I like, but I'm going to actually just try and guess the ones that I think have the best click-through rate.
Awesome. Couldn't have said it better myself. John, do we need anything else before we start here?
No, I guess we're just going to decide if you're fired today, See if you're
that's the first
doing the thing.
And look at these closely. I cannot be fired after what we find today. Maybe we'll be going reverse order, starting with number 15 up to number 1. So without further ado, let me go ahead and start at number 15. We have
this is number 15. 15 the 15 most 14. Viewed.
Yeah, this was 14, actually. I think I just closed out of the wrong thing, to be fully transparent. But go ahead. Start with this one, John.
14. All right. The 14th most viewed episode of all time, Organic Search Expert Shares SEO Growth Hacks. This is with John. This was with John from Grow. I don't. This is crazy. This is such a throwback, dude. Like,
yeah. Some of them will be that way.
Say? Yeah, this is such a throwback. This is probably one of our first 10 episodes of all time.
Yeah, this was before we even started putting numbers of the episode.
we don't even know which number it is.
I want to say it was like number 4 or 5. It was one of the first 5. I want to say
this episode aired before Explosive Growth. So if you weren't one of our first 5 followers, the Explosive Growth Marketing was Casey and I's marketing agency that got acquired like well over a year ago at this point. And this thumbnail still has brought to you by Explosive Growth Marketing at the bottom. Organic Search Expert Shares SEO Growth Hacks. So I actually could see the click-through rate on this thumbnail it's a very no fuss, no muss thumbnail. It primarily features the headline. You know what I mean? So, and the headline is very much like how to get more SEO. It's SEO growth hacks, growth hacks, SEO, lots of buzzwords. So, I mean, in terms of I don't love it, like visually, aesthetically. I think we've got like some way better banger thumbnails out there. But I could see this actually doing pretty well in terms of performance. And I do love performance. I'm a big fan of money. So,
hey, aren't we all?
Yeah.
Okay. So is this one you are wanting to keep in the mix or?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's in there automatically. I'll describe it for those who are just listening. If you're listening,
if you are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, which we are putting our episodes on those platforms now, so go check those out. But if you're listening already on those platforms, come on over to YouTube, check out the visual here. It's going to make it a lot more fruitful experience for you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, John is going to do his best to describe what he's looking at to people as well.
And not all of our episodes will be like this. Like if you're listening on Spotify right now and you're like, are these guys even worth listening to? Yeah, we do plenty that like audio only totally works, but this one will be a lot easier to watch on YouTube, I think. All right. So I'm going to describe it. So on the left, it's basically split down the middle. The thumbnail is, and on the left half of it, it's just blue background with a white and red headline that says "Organic Search Expert shares SEO growth hacks." There's a play button. You actually put the play button symbol on this thumbnail in the middle.
That was a play we did back in the day. Yeah.
Yep. And then on the right side, there's another smaller headline that says "Organic Search Giant reveals his methods," and there's just cutouts of me and the guy we're interviewing, and there's like, I don't know, some stock kind of imagery behind us, but it's all kind of faded. That's what I don't like. It's all kind of like,
you know, look
gray,
behind the curtain
fadey.
on that one too. Back in the day, I used to add in a gradient to kind of fade it out a little bit because I was less confident in my like cropping skills, and like we didn't have the best
Right.
like quality video going on.
Yep, our video quality wasn't as good. Yeah, so there's a lot Casey had to do in post back then. Yeah, I mean, if you were making thumbnails like this now, Casey, then you might get fired. But yeah, this one I think it'll do well. Let's move on. Though. So
Okay.
it's in the top 3 right now. As of right now, because it's the only one we reviewed.
It's the best one you've seen so far. So
absolutely.
Moving on to the true number 15. This was actually number 14.
Okay.
15 here. Our good friend Robert Rahill makes an appearance here.
Oh my gosh, dude!
This is our 15th most watched episode. John's enjoying himself. Is The Price is Right Volume 2 with Robert Rahill? For any of those just listening.
Yeah, probably episode number. Oh, look at that! Episode number 36. Okay. Little peek behind the curtain. This is why I was laughing so much. Before we started, I said, "Hey, we should just do our top 10 videos." And Casey's like, "We should do to 15." And now I know why, because The Price is Right was at number 15, and The Price is Right is Casey's favorite series that we do.
Hey, it's a lot of people's favorite, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. He's yours and everyone who lives with you. Okay. So number 1, I'm wearing the same shirt in that thumbnail that I'm wearing today. So good times.
I wonder how many times this shirt will make an appearance today.
It is one of my go-to shirts. So
yeah.
Okay.
It's a good shirt,
so
man.
This one is better than the one we just reviewed, I think.
Okay.
Price is Right.
That makes sense for me to do this then, at least drag it in front of the other one.
Yep. Price is Right e-commerce edition. I think that this one, I could see this one having performed pretty well with Raba. I think that concept of The Price is Right in e-commerce probably gets a solid click-through rate. And you kind of use some of the elements of The Price is Right. Okay, so on the left, it just says The Price is Right in big letters, big text. And there's a little sub headline that says Volume 2 with Robert Rahill, e-commerce edition. It has the play symbol in the middle, and then it has cropped cutouts of me, Casey, and Raba. Raba's doing one of these flexes, and there's some kind of Price is Righty looking background. Yeah, man, it's good. I don't know. I think it's better than the last one. So in terms of my favorite, it is better than the last one, but I think that I would say maybe it even has a slightly better click-through. Actually, no, I actually think the last one has a better click-through rate only because of the concept. Okay. But yeah, I like this one better for sure.
And I'm going to refrain from giving you any teasers, spoilers about the stats until the end.
Okay. Yep. So as of right now, Organic Search Expert is the top click-through rate. 2. Price is Right Volume 2 with Robert Rahill is the second in click-through rate.
Oh, you want that order. Okay. So this one.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. So moving on to the third one here, we'll try to just kind of give a first look of each one fairly quick. Once you have to get to shuffling stuff around, it might take more discussion there. So Third one here. Hey, what do you know? We got another Price is Right thumbnail here, you guys.
Yeah. So it would have been 15 and 13 with the organic search one in the middle.
Correct. Yeah, this is the original Price is Right, first episode of Price is Right. Again, back before we had the numbers, so I don't know what number this was, but yeah, in the 20s, 30s. I don't know.
Probably not in the 30s, honestly.
In the 20s.
Okay, Price is Right.
26, something like that.
So on the left, it just says The Price is Right in the main headline, and it says e-commerce edition underneath. And it has like a little
carry over from the other one.
Yeah, it has a little game show wheel. It looks very similar to the other one. It has the same background on the right side. It has different cutouts, and it's got, yeah. So this was the one where you went up against Scott. I think that this Price is Right. So this is interesting that I'm comparing these two. I think this one probably got a better click-through rate than the other one. Only
Okay.
because the other one was maybe a little too busy. Like there's a lot of text that's smaller in this one because we put the episode number. Like there was just more going on. Putting the episode number and then having who it's with, I think makes it so there's more going on. Where that the value prop of this video, this one, is just more clear. It's the Price is Right e-commerce edition. You know what I mean? You get it a lot quicker.
And this one, even being older, it had a redo to it where I took away the play button treatment.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's less busy with that play button as well. So I could see this one getting a better click-through rate. So as of right now, I'm gonna go with organic search expert. I'm gonna say organic search expert reveals biggest SEO growth hacks. That's just such a classic direct response.
That's the one
line. That's in the one spot.
And then this is your 2.
Price is Right volume 1. Or yeah, Price is Right volume 1, Casey versus Scott. That's in the 2 spot. Price is Right volume 2, John versus Raba. That's in the 3 spot.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the next thumbnail. You have this is your 1, this is your 2, this is your 3 currently. Here's the 4th one for the mix. Ranking pre-Black Friday emails. Pre-Black Friday emails. Black Friday.
Ranking pre-Black Friday. What did you do with the text here? Like, what is that effect?
We've experimented a little bit, and that's what happened. I think in my mind, I wanted Black Friday to be black lettering, but also that doesn't stand out very well in a blue field, a dark blue field.
Right.
So I gave it a little white outline and a little white glow to make it pop, and I think it pops. Pops almost too good, honestly.
I will say this about this thumbnail. If I'm reviewing your work, honestly, this thumbnail looks so tacky. You know,
man, that's what gets the clicks, boy.
I didn't say looks bad, right? Like bad would be, to me, bad would be if nobody clicks on it. So I could see this doing well. Ranking pre-Black Friday emails. I don't think the value prop is as strong as SEO growth hacks. I think we probably also piggyback on some Price is Right popularity with the other ones. And just pure thumbnail perspective, I'm not going to put this one in the top 3, but I will describe it. So on the left, so all of our thumbnails followed a very similar format early on. We tried like different things in the details, but on the left side, it's like black. There's like a blue field and it says ranking pre-Black Friday emails. And there's a little graphic, vector graphic. There's a play symbol. There's no episode number. Man, a lot of throwbacks here. And then on the right is just me and Casey, just cozy, snuggled up. I do like that part of this one. We're just like right next to each other.
I improved nice. Slowly at different parts of the game. The cropping element became more and more clear. I think at this stage, somewhere around here, I realized, hey, I can probably get rid of that gradient to fade things out a little bit because it's starting to look a little cleaner. It was right around here. I think this was actually 2 years ago.
Jeez.
I think it might have been at least last year.
No, it wasn't 2022. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't even 2021. It might have been 2020. So yeah, I'm not going to put it in the top 3, but I don't know. I think you went real weird with like the text on the right side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You did a lot of shapes. There's a lot of shapes.
Well, I think that this Black Friday, this part here was already, I think this was all something stock that I grabbed.
Oh, that was like a stock thing that you grabbed.
And like, that, right, and all this was all stock. I think what I added in was pre-dash and emails. So all considered.
Now that you say that, that does look right. Yeah, that does look like what you did.
It looks right, but you wouldn't have known that right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So I think it passes.
No, it definitely like I think knowing the background of how these were created, you're like, hey, this looks pretty good.
That's the story I should really be telling. You have no idea what went into some of these.
Some of these are pretty wild.
I'm not exactly the designer extraordinaire. Like I know my way around Canva, but like, I mean, hey, some of these, I don't think I did all of them the way you're supposed to do certain things. This one would be automatically probably a lot better if I just had this removed. One of these days, maybe we'll go back and remove all the play symbols.
All those
but
play symbols. Yeah, I'm not gonna put
can't
this
be
one in the
bothered
top
with it.
3 though. So let's move on.
So it's out. Get out
It's
of
out.
here. Here's our next one.
Hey, here's a recent one.
Recent psychology-based creative strategy with Sarah Levinger. Back episode number 63. She wants us to think about our creatives.
Subjectively, our thumbnails look so much better now.
But
You know
do the viewers
like,
think so? Do the people scrolling through their feeds think so?
Right. Do they get clicked as much? So this is what I'm realizing is that I thought this was going to, when I'm like, oh, top click-through rate, I thought it was going to be like, oh, it's going to be based on how good the thumbnail is. I'm like, I actually think it has a way more to do with like, what is that episode about? Like the SEO growth hacks episode, I still have it in the one spot, right?
Yes.
That I don't think that's a good thumbnail, but I think it's like just a strong content, like it's hooky content that people want to watch. Psychology-based creative strategy, it's just lacking a little oomph. It's lacking it's lacking the word growth and hacks. There's no growth or hacks in there, And,
well, you got a whole 3 spot here to compare it against.
And there's no e-commerce, there's no prices right to compare it against. So I think objectively, so there's a lot of barriers broken in this one. Pull it back up. You're still doing the two-sided thing, but you decided you didn't need to have stock imagery in the background anymore. You decided you didn't need to do like a hard line. You decided you didn't need to keep us all on one side of the thumbnail. So, I mean, I think it looks just so much better. It's not tacky. It's not as tacky. It's maybe a little tacky, but definitely not as tacky. I mean, they got to be a little tacky though. But I don't think it's in the top 3.
All right. So sorry, Sarah. You are out.
You're out.
Next up, Internet Marketing Hot Takes for 2023 with Barry Hott. Another recent one. Episode number 61. This one has a lot of fire.
There's lots of fire in this thumbnail. It is fire.
I will say this before you even start. I fully took advantage of the opportunity to use play on words with hot.
Yes. I mean, we called it Internet Marketing Hot Takes, but I didn't add 2 T's. I should have. Dude, I love this thumbnail. Like this might be my favorite thumbnail. I think I like fire. I'm a big fan of any imagery that has the fire emoji.
It's your favorite maybe, but where do you like it stacked up against these?
Dude, honestly, it's so much better. You just switched from that one to the SEO growth hacks one. And it is so much better. Like it's so much better of a thumbnail. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty crazy difference, honestly. Yeah.
And Internet Marketing Hot Takes for 2023. It's a stronger concept than using psychology-based creative. That's for sure. But does it crack the Price is Right? Does it crack the top 3? I'm going to put it in the 3 spot. I think that first Price is Right one is still ahead of it. So we got SEO growth hacks in the 1 spot.
So this guy you want to get rid of now?
Yeah, that one's out.
Okay.
The Casey versus. So in the 1 spot, go to the thumbnail that I think is in the 1 spot. I think this one has the best click-through rate of all time, even though it's an awful looking thumbnail. Then this one is the second best of all time, and then that one's third best. And I'm gonna have a hard time eliminating that one just because I like it so much. We're all wearing hats too. We were all on the same page with the hats.
Man,
good job,
it's gonna be tough to beat.
Yep.
Let's keep this train moving. John, I've lost track of what number we're on here, but next one up. Oh, our good buddy Mason makes an appearance here. Episode number 56, simple copywriting hacks to drive more conversions and make more money with Mason Dorr.
Dude, this is funny. Okay, so yeah, on the left, that's what it said. Everything that Casey just said, simple copywriting hacks to drive more conversions and make more money with Mason Dorr. And then on the right, it says like copywriting secrets to sell more stuff. I think that's a pretty good hook, honestly.
I think, you know what? Okay, I said something beforehand because we knew this one was coming up. We can let the secret out on this one.
What?
We can let this one out of this bunch was actually done by you. I don't even know if you remember that, but this thumbnail was done by you, but you don't know how it performed.
No,
as far as click-through rate goes. So
I don't know how
this was. You've done a few celebrity shot thumbnails when I wasn't around.
Now that you say that, it totally makes sense that this one was done by me.
I remember specifically because like I'm outlined and you're not, and you're like, I couldn't figure out how to do the outline. I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, basically, whenever I do one, I just pull a bunch of stuff from Casey's past thumbnails and just plug it all in. That's all I do. It makes a lot of sense that I did this one. So it is pretty busy, but the simple copywriting.
There's a definite foreground background to it, though, not just all like
yes.
fighting.
So what a couple of things we did here is in the middle. There used to be a very clear split in our thumbnails, and I broke that wall a little bit by putting myself on the split. So there's like a foreground. I also like created another little edge, another little like box on the bottom, and I made it look like Mason's kind of leaning on it backwards.
I don't think I ever got that perspective before. I didn't realize that's what you were going for.
I think it is because it looked weird without that. Like he's leaning in this picture, he's leaning on something. He had no pictures of himself, like seriously nothing. Sure. So in this picture,
that looks like a MySpace pic from back in the day or something.
Yeah, I mean Mason might be too young for MySpace.
Too young to even know what MySpace is.
Yeah, he's like, my what? Like,
sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. How do you feel like this one did though, stacked up against the other ones?
Okay, and now I'm gonna have bias because you told me.
2, 3.
The other reason that this one I think it makes sense that is me is because it's so direct responsey. Like this is exactly how I write copy.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like all sizzle. Like, hey, I'm selling the click. Yeah. I think this is in the one spot. This is my new one spot.
This is your new one spot. Okay. Yeah. So just knock off this Very Hot one on the third.
Very Hot's gone. Dang it. I was hoping Very Hot would stick around for longer.
The last one you just said, like, I'm going to have a hard time ever moving that one.
Yeah. I think I would have had a harder time I think I would have had a harder time putting it in the 3 spot and like intentionally knocking off Very Hot.
Yeah. Like you should know that if you put something in the 3 spot, it's going to get knocked off more than likely.
Right. Yeah. Well, I did know. It just didn't connect in my brain until we just decided Barry was no longer in the top 3. Sorry, Barry. Next time.
Adios to our friend of temperature.
Yeah. There's a lot going on here, but I think we broke a lot of walls with this thumbnail.
Yeah,
Good
and
job,
this was
John.
one of the first ones where you kind of broke down some barriers that I had just set up for myself, and I go, you know what?
I do remember you saying that. Like I would have never done this. In my head, it was just locked. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a new 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And moving on to the next thumbnail. Here it is.
I like this thumbnail a lot.
Digital marketing social media Q&A session with John.
Episode number 60, it looks like.
60.
Yeah. This is a very different like visual format.
Yeah. So once you broke down that wall, it was
then you didn't even have to do it anymore at all. Yeah. So this one, there's a gradient split in the background. There's a gradient like from dark blue to light blue. But other than that, it doesn't follow our format at all. And I don't honestly know how to describe it for people who are just listening on audio. Like it is episode
some overlays of some like screenshots of questions from Reddit, Twitter, things like that.
There's kind of one in the middle that we're like both looking at, and that's pretty cool. And then the headline's kind of on top of the pictures of us.
I don't know if you can make it out, but I did make sure to get Max Finn in there too. That's his question that he asked.
Oh yeah, nice.
Right in the middle. Yeah,
just trying to leverage some people's fame. Oh, that's another thing that I'll call out about the Mason one that I put in the one spot is that Mason is a little bit TikTok famous, so I could see that doing pretty well. I love this thumbnail. I don't think it has a great click-through rate. 1, because there's nothing really flashy about it, and 2, because digital marketing social media Q&A session just isn't super strong of a concept, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that our listeners probably liked this episode a lot, and I bet if we looked at the episode, it could have a weak click-through rate and still have one of our highest view counts, simply because I bet it has a really high retention, right? Like people who watch the episode probably watch a lot of it and really like it, and so the YouTube algorithm shows it more and gives it more impressions, but I don't think it probably has a very strong
that is like that happens for sure. And remember, as we show a new thumbnail each time, it is a video that got more views than everyone we've looked at prior. So yeah, that is what happens. Is sometimes YouTube senses that people are watching this longer or whatever, so it forces it into feeds more.
Yep. Even if it doesn't have a great click-through rate, it's like, oh, this is a quality video that people really stick on. So yeah, I'm not going to put this one in the top 3 of click-through rate. The thumbnail, I love it personally, but I don't think it's a super strong concept. This was very much an inside baseball concept. Like our listeners probably liked this episode a lot, but I don't think we got a lot of like new people with this episode.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense too, right? Like a Q&A session with us isn't like very exciting unless you know who we are already. So
right.
All right, moving on. We're gonna get rid of this one. Number 60, you're out. Oh, this one we've heard a lot of people talk about this one to us.
This is one of people's favorite episodes.
Be number 57. Does ROAS matter with Charlie T? I'm pretty sure the T just stands for Twitter. Honestly,
Charlie from Twitter. It stands for Ticken. Sorry, I'm gonna butcher it, Charlie. So I'm just not gonna say
Charlie
it.
Twitter. Yeah,
Charlie Twitter. I love his shirt. Just says like "Let's roll," and you just got it in there. And so does ROAS matter is an interesting concept because it's like I think everybody would just automatically answer yes. So the way this thumbnail is broken out is does ROAS matter with Charlie T? And then there's pictures of all of us, and then like Charlie has a little word bubble coming out of his mouth that says it's a waste of time. So it's like, oh, they're gonna have this take. Somebody's gonna have this take that ROAS doesn't matter. So I think that's like a strong concept that is displayed visually. Like I probably butchered it in the explanation, but it's displayed visually like really, really well. So
you forgot to say your response to that.
Yeah, and my response is what? What?
I imagined it a little deeper voice.
Did you imagine it like what?
Creepy peasant John. What?
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 So it was either that or it was like what?
Yeah. What? I am Batman.
What did you say? Yeah. Yeah, this is a fun episode. I think a lot of people who are like in the direct to consumer, like the e-commerce Twitter world, really like this episode because Charlie's very controversial. I'm not going to put it in the top 3 though. Hold on, remind me what's in the top 3.
Top 3 currently sits 1, Mason Door, 2, SEO growth hacks, 3, The Price is Right, the original.
Yeah, I think this knocks off The Price is Right. I think but I think this leverages Charlie's fame a little bit, honestly, because he's actually pretty decently sized on YouTube as well. So I could see it getting impressions of people who are like searching for more of his content and getting click-throughs that way. So like now I'm judging it on more than just the thumbnail. But I also think it's a better thumbnail than The Price is Right video.
Okay, so we're knocking this one out.
That one is out.
Price is Right.
Sorry, man.
You are out.
I did leave The Price is Right in there a real long time for you, though. I thought it should have been out several rounds ago. I'm just kidding.
So we have a 3, 2, 1, and the new challenger.
I'm excited. I hope there are 2 more that can knock off the 2 that are 2 and 3 because I hate that second thumbnail. The more thumbnails we look at, the more I hate this.
Well, we're looking at more, so get over that. Okay, so next one up, new challenger. This is exciting to unveil it. I like this part. 3, 2, 1, go.
This is. Do you see how we're back to the old format here?
Yes. Hold on, I'm gonna get rid of this.
Okay. Now I'm looking at Toby.
Sorry about that. Boom.
All right. Yeah. So this is interesting. You see how we're back to the old. So go back to the Charlie thumbnail real quick.
Charlie.
How does ROAS matter? So this is episode number 57. So 15 episodes later than this one that you just unveiled, which is building a brand. It's part of the building a brand series. Building a brand : beauty with
this
Cody
before
Plofker.
We actually used the name of the brand there.
Right. Yes.
Back when we were like vertical oriented in that series.
Yep. Building a beauty brand, Cody Plofker. That's what it says on the left. And then it has like the little, what do you call those, cranes?
Building a brand crane. Yeah.
Building brand crane.
We call it branding, John, in the biz. It's
okay.
Branding the series with the crane.
Yeah. Here in the biz. Oh, like in the advertising You know so much about advertising, man. I don't know anything.
I know. I mean, hey, you should check out my podcast. It's
Yeah,
ModCom
that's a good idea.
on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So check it out.
Nice. That's what it says on the left, and on the right, it just has the cutouts of me, Casey, and Cody Plofker. And it says at the top Jones Road. It has the Jones Road Beauty logo, and it has again the stock footage behind us, not footage, stock imagery behind us. I think I'm holding some makeup brushes there, and Casey and Cody are just pointing at me while I hold some makeup brushes and make a face like, what?
That's a good.
That is pretty much the face I'm making, right? Like, if you were to associate a sound with that face I'm making, what would it sound like?
I mean, I'm just being honest. That came out of me, so it's definitely a screen grab of you mid like gesture.
Yeah, I was making a point, and it's not the most flattering, but that's okay.
You're guffawing. I think that's the right word for it. Guffawing.
Yes, I was guffawing. Honestly, I think since we've broken down the barrier of that like hard line in the middle of the thumbnail, our thumbnails have gotten subjectively so much better.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm not going to put this in the top 3. It's all right. I put this right in the category of like a solid, okay thumbnail. You know what I mean? I think the reason it probably got a lot of views is because Cody's pretty big on Twitter.
Sure.
And the concept of building a brand, that whole kind of series has like gotten some momentum.
All right. Okay. All right, Cody Plofker. Sorry to say, but you are out.
You're out.
Next up, we got Shaq.
Oh boy. Dude, this is another one of those real bad thumbnails.
Yeah, boy, you better believe it.
Okay, this is also brought to you by Explosive Growth Marketing.
It's got a good message behind it, though, John. All right,
team building. Yep.
This was team building and hiring with Nick Shackelford. This was back in the Explosive Growth days, but I think this was the last one we had. This like brought to you by Explosive Growth, profit-driven marketing banner at the bottom, because I believe the whole theme of this was basically like we
got acquired.
Yes. By Structured. So
we got acquired by Structured, and that was the whole theme. You're right. Dude, honestly, I think the Shaq effect probably puts this in the 1 spot in click-through rate. Okay, so I'll describe it. Tim, on the left, it has our like split that I've been explaining this whole time. It says team building and hiring with Nick Shackelford. It has like, an icon. It has some branding of a bunch of different people holding their hands together. They're doing like a break, but like a high in the air, not like a put your hands in the middle break. Like it's put your hands in the middle and then raise them up in the air.
Like about to release.
Yeah, but
I don't think that's what they're doing. Actually, they're just going, yeah.
Their hands are still together. They're doing like a group high five.
Those are some skinny wrists. I don't think any of them ever did like team sports. Where
all of them are probably children. Honestly,
probably.
They're doing a group high five. That's the best way I could describe it. And then on the right, it has me and Casey and Shaq. We're using that fade effect again.
Yeah.
That I hate now that I've seen other thumbnails without it. At the time, I didn't mind it at all. I remember Casey being like, what do you think about this thumbnail? Like, he used to approve them through me. And every time I'd be like, I don't know, man. It's fine. I don't care. Like,
good. It's good. It's good, man.
But like, if you slip one of these to me now, I'd be like, no.
What?
Hard no.
What? The reason I don't slip them to you now at all is because I know I'm not doing these anymore. Like, they're a different level. Like them or not, they're a different level.
That's how it's been the whole time, actually. Like, you stopped approving them through me pretty early on, because I think the whole time I've been like, hey man, you're getting better. You've been getting better at doing thumbnails the whole time, in my opinion.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's compare them real quick. Here's the 1. Here's the 2. Here's the 3. And you think Shaq belongs where?
1. I think the Shaq effect brings it all the way to 1.
So we got Charlie T on the way out, or do you want to jump this one down because you just got a vendetta against it?
So no. It knocks off. Charlie's knocked off, and now SEO growth hacks is in the 3 spot.
Charlie, sad to say it. Episode number 57.
You're out of here.
All right, so we got a 3, 2, 1, and the new contender is the The Perfect Gene with Zach Arnold and Novadia Louboutin.
Le Baton. Yeah,
I'm
you
yeah,
nailed
I
that.
mean, I lost confidence like halfway through his last name. I'm sorry, Ovadia.
So this was okay. So this is episode 58. It's funny to see the progression of how we broke down the walls.
Yeah, we were like, is it okay to break the barrier here?
So it says on the left side, building a brand, the perfect gene. And then it has our branding crane below that.
Yeah.
And then it has genes like literally all over the place. Like there's genes all over this. That's the best way I can describe it.
There's a lot of genes going on.
There's lots of genes in this thumbnail. And then you use the little circle things around our face. So instead of cropping us out,
oval, oval.
Yeah, oval, that's the right word. Circle is they're not circles, they're ovals. So instead of cropping us out, Casey just put ovals around our faces, and he made it all on white background.
To be fair,
you still cropped us, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I apologize. Your crop is like slightly shoddier than the rest of them, if I'm being honest.
That's because I was wearing a white T-shirt.
And it was a tougher crop for some reason.
Yeah,
but
and I'm just a whiter guy. I'm like shockingly white,
Yeah. If it makes you feel better, I hate my stupid face in this one. I don't know. I control what I look like, and
you still chose this face that you hate. Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
Anyway. What do you think about the Perfect Gene thumbnail compared to these other thumbnails?
I'm going to say it does not crack the top 3. But I liked what we were doing here. We were learning that we didn't have to follow any rules with our thumbnails. We could do whatever we wanted.
Yeah, it was a learning process. And if you're somebody who is in like a process where you create like the same type of thing over and over again on like a weekly basis for years, this might hit a little different for you. You might be like, hey, this is actually sometimes breaking down barriers is rough stage and then lead to something much better on the other side.
You know what I would suggest is like if you're doing something like this, like YouTube thumbnails or any kind of like what we started, the reason we had those barriers is because we just started it's so much faster to just duplicate our last design, update certain elements, and bring
and that's
other
why
it
was built with such rigid formatting, is so that it was like, oh, I don't have to think about the whole thing. I have to think about half of it, come up with a title. That's half of it, basically.
I think it's great to have that. We could still do a thumbnail just like this, bang it out, and it's a solid thumbnail. But I think there's value in starting with a blank canvas every now and then. Just like white, like you got to build a thumbnail from scratch.
That is one of the things, as we've like started to upload our podcast onto Spotify and Apple Podcasts now, kind of working through the backlog there, getting all those uploaded. There's an option to like upload by season. And one thing is like podcasting, like we never really have a season break.
We don't, not in our shows. Yeah.
Yeah. So like there's never that like, let's go straight back to one like hard reset. So yeah, it's kind of all been one season, just slowly try to evolve, and you'll just see different breaking points. Matt has a question here. Matt wants to know, what's the biggest growth hack you've learned from testing all different thumbnails?
I think that what I would say I'm realizing as we go through this is the stuff that I'm guessing has the highest click-through rate isn't thumbnail based so much as either the concept of the content, I think, is just got a strong click-through rate, or the fame, like if the person's famous. Like the reason I have Nick in the 1 spot and Mason in the 2 spot is because Nick's mega famous, Mason is pretty famous, but also it's a really strong concept. And then the thing that's in the 3 spot right now is just a really strong, super direct response concept. So to recap, this is what I believe right now is the 3rd best performing thumbnail. So that's organic search expert shares SEO growth hacks. Super ugly thumbnail, but I think the concept is strong. What do I think is 2 right now? 2 is simple copywriting hacks to drive more conversions and make more money with Mason Door. Again, I think Mason's kind of TikTok famous, and this is a strong concept. This is my favorite, my personal subjective favorite thumbnail right now, and that's in the top 3 at least.
Makes sense. You made it.
Yeah, thanks. And the ones, but that just is like, I'm realizing my own vanity. And then in the 1 spot, team building and hiring with Nick Shackelford. Teamwork makes the dream work on the right side. Also a very ugly thumbnail. So I guess back to Matt's question here, what's the biggest growth hack you've learned from testing all different thumbnails? It's that the biggest growth hack is not the thumbnail.
Yeah. But I think to answer the question, actually, for the thumbnail is all the things you said. It's like lead with your best foot forward. If you have something like Mason or
it's
Shaq,
a hook.
Like,
yeah,
it can be something that's not perfectly designed, but obviously this is one of our biggest episodes ever. And Shaq's
This is
face
if I'm right. I could be
larger
completely
on
wrong.
purpose. You know,
I could be completely wrong about this stuff, but this is if I'm right.
Sure. So we are eliminating the perfect gene. It's fun having you guys, but you are out. And Matt, your question is out. All right. Back to the game. We have a 3 spot, a 2 spot, a 1 spot, and a contender. 3 left is all, John. 3 left. Next one up is Black Friday Live. This one is the most recent Black Friday. Black Friday 2022. Go for it.
This is when I think this was shortly after. This is 59. So this is kind of shortly after the Mason episode, maybe the next episode.
5-6 episodes ago.
This is the first time you like completely broke our format.
Something like that. This might have been right after the perfect gene, actually.
Yeah. Like you just realized like I don't have to follow any rules. Like you didn't even use our colors in this one.
No.
Which I'm good with.
Yeah.
So basically, if I were to describe this, on the left is this is a circle around me. And on the right is a circle around Casey. You're making kind of a sad face here.
I know. I don't know why I'm so. Again,
why you always sad?
How I look in these things, and I think I was going for serious, but then when it got bigger, it looks sadder. I think smaller, it looks just like serious guy.
Smaller, you're like, oh, that's interesting, and like you're bigger, you're like, that's interesting, and then when it gets smaller, you're like, I feel depressed about this.
I mean, when you see me like down here or even here now, oh, you can't see my cursor right now. Like up here or like down here, you can't tell I'm sad looking. I just look serious.
No, yeah, you're just a guy in a hat. That's all I can really tell. Okay, so yeah, man, I don't think this is in the top 3, but I like it. Black Friday. The main reason I don't think it's in the top 3 is because again, this is kind of an inside baseball episode. I bet like our normal listeners really liked this episode, but I bet it didn't attract like very many new outside people because it's just like Black Friday live streaming. Like, what are you live streaming on Black Friday? You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's a game or something. Right. It is a game. It's all Monopoly money. But yeah, they don't know that. So yeah, I don't think it's in the top 3. I like it though. Solid thumbnail.
Solid, but not solid enough. All right, so we have 3, 2, 1, and the new challenger. I like this one.
All right. Dude,
I know it's got the old school fade.
Yes,
but I like this one.
Of the old school ones, I like this best. And I'm realizing that I'm big on fire. Anything that has fire in it.
Fire is cool. You look like a firebender from the Fire Nation.
And I'm also
a little fire apprentice guy in the background.
We're also both rocking glasses in this episode. In this thumbnail.
Weird. This is the only episode I can remember you wearing glasses in.
We never do that. Yeah. Okay. So, how to launch an e-commerce brand in 2021 is the name of the episode.
Matt says this one's awesome.
Matt's in on this one. How to launch an e-commerce brand in 2021. I think we made this episode sometime around the beginning of 2021. We were still using the play symbol here. We're still brought to you by Explosive Growth Marketing.
This is all the old stuff for sure.
And then on the right side, it says how to catch fire. And then it's got me holding fire and Casey in the background. It's got that fade. And then Casey in the background, like you've got you caught some fire. Dude, actually, this is kind of a banger. Like for all of those old ones, this is kind of a banger.
Yeah.
Where do I put it though? I think I'm playing with the 2. So there's some bias here because I remember that this video really took off. This video caught fire. So I'm like, oh, it was probably good. The biggest bangers on YouTube are the ones that like have high retention. People watch a lot of it and they have really good click-through rates. So it's like, I think this one probably did. We're getting to like our most popular episodes now. And I think this is probably one of our 2 or 3 runaway episodes. So I don't think I'd put it above Shaq, but I do think I'd put it above Mason.
Okay. So you want to go right here with it. We got Mason still in the mix. That would eliminate organic search giant expert shares SEO growth hacks.
Dude, I'm so glad that one's gone.
All right. Sorry to say. And this is the first one, I think, ever. I think the only one in our entire entire podcast existence where I didn't feature the guest name in the thumbnail. Pretty big miss there. Pretty big miss.
Yeah.
So my apologies to John, right? His name's John, I believe.
John.
I forget his last name though.
Zacharias is his last name.
That one's a mouthful.
Dude, I really couldn't remember it this whole time, and then I just like barely pulled it out. That was pretty cool.
Good so I'm sorry, John, but you made it a long time, but you are out. All right, so we have a new 3, 2, and 1. Same one, I guess. And one more to go. John, do you have any idea what's coming? Do you know what our most watched video is off the top of your head?
It's an old one. It's either Josh Snow or traffic sources, right? It's either Josh Snow or traffic sources, I think.
A good memory. It is traffic sources that actually work for e-com brands. This was episode 2, I believe.
Dude, this is when I only thought in like YouTube hooks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, that's crazy. So the Josh Snow episode is even one of our top 15 views. Wow. I remember there was a time
early.
There was a time where we thought that Josh Snow episode had like so many views. Like it was outperforming everything. Dude, that's good. We've come a long way.
This is it. I don't think it ever outperformed this guy.
This is fun, dude. Like, cause this is like a little walk down memory lane. I didn't like this idea. Casey came up with this idea for an episode. And I was like, it kind of feels masturbatory. And Casey's like, well, that's why I like it. I like both those things. So,
okay. Good
dude,
content.
We're peeling back the curtain here.
For the YouTubes.
Traffic sources that actually work for e-com brands. This was a banger. This is one of our runaway episodes.
It is.
Don't tell me the view count because that's only going to help me. Okay, remind me what I have in the 3 spot and what I have in the 2 spot.
3, Mason. 2, Catch Fire. 1, Shaq. Contender. You and I doing like hand gestures with icons of platforms above our head.
I hate myself because this is going to make it so that all 3 of our best performing thumbnails of all time are all old.
Oh no.
But I'm going to put this in the 3 spot because I know it was a banger of a video. So I know it's probably got again. And is it my favorite? No. But
no, this one's your favorite, of course. You'll fire.
Yeah. Is it my favorite? No. But in terms of performance, my favorite thing is the thing that makes me money. Right. And this one's made us some money. So, yeah, I would put this in the 3 spot. I do think though that I'm not going to put it in the 2 or 1 spot because I do think those other 2 episodes might be like really high view count episodes as well. And the reason I wouldn't put it in the 2 or 1 spot is because if I remember right, I'm like kind of cheating. But if I remember right, I remember that this has like just massive numbers of impressions. And so like I think that probably waters down the click-through rate a little bit, but so 3 spot Mason, is Mason
is out. All right, so we're finally down
traffic
to
sources that actually work for e-com brands. Here, I'll describe this one. It says that on the left-hand side. It's using our old format. Casey and I are both making points, like doing the chef's kiss, like mwah, making a point. And then we have like the little traffic source icons above us. We have like a Google AdWords thing, a Facebook thing, a Snapchat thing, an Amazon thing. All right, so we got traffic sources that actually work in the 3 spot, right?
You do, yes.
And then what do I have in the other one?
2 spot, you have how to catch fire, how to launch an e-com brand in 2021.
Okay.
And team building and hiring with Nick Shackelford.
Man, dude, now I'm second guessing myself. I mean, you already got rid of Mason. You can't bring him back.
I did. He is gonzo. He's out. I mean, I could bring it back, but currently he is gonzo.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that. So I got Shaq in the 1 spot. I got how to catch fire with it, or how to build an e-com brand in 2021 in the 2 spot. And and traffic sources that actually work in the 3 spot.
Correct.
All right. 1, 2, how'd I do, Casey?
Well, John, I mean, you did okay.
Our top performing thumbnail or highest click-through rate of all time is, or our 3rd highest is what?
So it might not be all time, just to clarify. It's of these top 15 episodes only.
Oh, yeah.
But of these, you ran the table, actually.
I got them all 3 right. 1, 2, 3
in order.
In
this one
order.
Is number 1. This one is number 2, and this one is number 3.
Dang, dude.
Yeah, I will say there's and you were right there. Some of the other ones you kept around a little longer. We're right in that area too. Organic Search Giant did really well. Mason did really well. Both just barely got beat out by traffic sources that actually work for ecom brands. Which I wasn't sure if we actually wanted to just, I don't know why it feels weird to like share like the data, but those were all around. Those were all over 3%. You know, we're marketers. That means something to us. That's usually indicative. Might mean a little different as thumbnails on
YouTube organic thumbnails. Who knows?
Exactly, a little different game there, but they're all above 3%, including this one. This one was at 3.5%. A marked improvement with these next two. Yeah, definitely something. Again, a lot of factors at play here. But both of these two are actually above 8% click-through.
Oh, wow.
8.2, or sorry, 8.1 for this guy, and 8.2 for our first episode with Nikki Shaq.
Dude, I mean, honestly, this is a little discouraging.
Kind of boring.
All of our top performing crap is all from the beginning. Like we feel like we've gotten way better.
Wanted to make fun of how bad of a job you did, but
I know. Yeah. All the thumbnails I should have guessed were like better ones. But so it was a little bit cheating because I didn't know like, oh, I remember these videos are bangers. So,
right.
Yeah, if I were just from the outside looking in judging, I might not like it. But I'm going to call something out here and say that, yeah, like what Matt said earlier, at the end of the day, it's like make good content, but don't just make good content for good content's sake, because look at some of the ones that I said like, oh, I really like this episode, you know, like the Black Friday live stream episode or the digital marketing Q&A episode. And at least I don't know how those perform, but you didn't even mention them. Or the psychology-based marketing episode with Sarah. That's like one of my favorite episodes we've ever done. Like Very Hot, one of my favorite episodes we've ever done. And it's great content, right? Like if you're listening to this, you should definitely go listen to those episodes. It's probably some of our best content we've created. So there's two sides to this. One, make good content, but two, make good content that's catchy, that's attention grabbing, right? Like you can't just make good content and it'll, you know, things will happen. Like you've got to make content that like stops people and makes them want to watch. Because the only reason I think that like digital marketing Q&A and Sarah's episode and Very Hot have performed well is because we already have a following now. Had we released those with those same titles back in the early days, they would have got nothing.
Right.
So
yeah, totally.
End of the day,
even though our content is generally better now, you know, we've had some outlier performances of episodes in the past, but even back this time, you know, this was a while ago when we had Shaq on. Great discussions, but even just like the audio quality is not quite where it is now, a little bit better now. So yeah, if you're looking for other episodes to watch, I would not use this exercise as a way to like, oh, I'm gonna go back and watch that one. Some of them are cool for sure. That traffic sources that actually convert, I think that was so, you know, there's going to be a little bit of stuff that has changed since then, but I actually think that would probably hold up fairly well. What we discussed on that, it was a lot of just like general theory, not super tactical. And then of course there's stuff like team building and hiring with Shaq. That's pretty relevant all the time. So as far as the content goes, great discussion. But if you're more into like, hey, we like the audio to be crisp and clean, the visual to be nice and appealing, things like that, definitely check out our more recent, like last like 20-25 episodes, things like that. You'll probably be more happy with those ones.
So if I'm gonna give a parting shot, I kind of already did, but if I'm gonna give a parting shot that I think is a little more concise, it would be this. If you're a content creator, you're going to be creating content. Number one thing you need to think about is like just create good content. But number two is you need to create good content that is like attention grabbing and like will get new people who don't know you to stop and pay attention for a minute. Because the episodes, every video we do now, like the average amount of views we get now is way better. It's way more than the average number of views we got, you know, when we were first starting. But our best performing videos of all time are from when we're first starting, because that's when we made that like hooky attention grabbing content that like really took off, and those videos became banger videos, and that's what got us the audience that gets us a higher average view count or a higher average listener rate now on our episodes. So if you're just starting, like, you got to make good content, and you should always be thinking about making good content, but you specifically need to think about, like, how do I make stuff that, like, is a little clickbaity? Like, don't be afraid to be a little clickbaity.
If you believe in the content, it's a scary thing to say, but the ends kind of justify the means. And as long as it's not clickbait, as long as it does pertain to what's going on, there's nothing wrong with trying to make it pop. You know, it's something that stands out. That's what a good thumbnail should do. I have learned quite a bit in the hundreds of thumbnails I've done along the way to publish these 65. You know, not everyone made the cut. There's been V1s, V2s, things like that. And we do have another show if you happen to like sports. It's called Triple Cross Podcast. That one is also on YouTube, soon to be coming to all of the podcast apps near you. John, I had fun today. That parting shot, couldn't have said it better myself. And Modern Commerce, if you enjoyed yourself this time around, make sure to drop a like onto the video for us. That would help us out with the algorithm so that more people get these thumbnails into their feeds so they can decide if they like them themselves. Also, remember to hit the subscribe button. That'll subscribe you to the channel so you can be part of the ModCom gang. Woohoo! And also hit the bell icon so you get notifications about the live shows that we'll do, so you can jump in and join us in the chat like Matt did today. We'll pull your comments up on screen. And as always, until next time, we'll see you.